Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, James Wold.
Nice to meet you, James.
And you are Mr. Fakey?
Yes. I'm Jesse. I feel free to call me Jesse. I'm pretty down to home.
Okay.
God, don't let the suit fool you. This has been passed down. This was my dad's, thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving us a call. And my secretary took a little bit of basic information, but I will certainly want to just make sure and confirm everything with that as we get started here. But I guess before we even start, I'm glad that you're here. It's never easy to come into a place like this, but I hope everything has been good. The drive over was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not used to all these crazy Midwestern drivers. Nobody knows how to use the blinker up here.
Sure.
Being a driver, I'm kind of used to it by now.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Kentucky.
From Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Whereabouts in Kentucky?
a little bit outside Knoxville. It's like one of those places where I just say Knoxville, but technically not Knoxville. So I mean,
Okay.
big Bulls fan.
Oh, okay, so you're kind of right on the border between Kentucky and Tennessee, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I meant Tennessee, not Kentucky. I apologize.
Oh no, it's fine. Hey,
this whole situation just has my head.
I completely understand. My wife probably, thinks I'm absent-minded 2 or 3 times a day. With just small little things. On her end. So, I can completely understand.
Yeah. This whole situation really has me in a daze.
But are you you big Vols football fan?
As a kid, I used to watch Peyton Manning a lot growing up.
Sure.
That's kind of when things started attaching for me. But
Okay.
Not even still, not the biggest sports fan.
No, but I know a lot of people that are down there, and I know it's really big.
Oh yeah.
It's like an event down there. I've been invited to a couple of games, and unfortunately, I've had to turn them down because of once for work, and then once for a wedding I was going to. So unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to get down there, but I would certainly. It sounds like it's a very lovely place down there.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. I couldn't tell you what's going on the field, but it's just nice kind of being in the environment with everybody excited.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we go to sporting events in the first place is is that camaraderie and that kind of feeling of being included in something, and
right.
Something that's kind of bigger than what you are.
Exactly.
I went to Wisconsin for my undergrad, so I know exactly what that means in terms of you go with your friends, and then you go maybe out afterwards for a dinner or something like that, and it's that ability to be with people.
Yeah.
That's really kind of the reason why I like sport, and so that's. I'm happy to hear that we have a little bit of something in common. So that it's always nice to be able to have that connection. So, I appreciate you coming in. Is there anything that you need? We have some refreshments. We have cookies.
I'm pretty good. I've got my water here, and I still have to get back to work and get some things done. So
no, certainly, and I can respect that. So I won't waste any more of your time. So my secretary tells me that there was that you have before I even get to that. Just want to let you know that anything that's said here is under confidence. You're the only one that has the ability to break that confidence. So anything that's said to me stays within these 4 walls.
Gotcha.
The only exception is if there is any sort of bodily harm that could potentially fall upon you or upon any member of your family, immediate family. But otherwise, what's said here stays here, and I hope that by saying that to you now, that you are you can be as forthcoming and honest with me as possible.
Yeah.
Because the more information that I have, the better I can help you
Gotcha.
in your situation.
Gotcha.
So, if does that sound pretty good to you?
No, that's great. I mean, I know that's just what I need is, a little relief that somebody isn't gonna, share my story or something.
Yeah, and the thing is, when we get people to come into here, we deal with a lot of different issues, and what we want to create here is an environment where you have the ability to be as genuine and as honest as you can be, because that's the best way we can use our expertise to help you. Because if we know, the more information we know, the more options that we can potentially create if you decide to continue along with us.
Gotcha.
So, my secretary said that there was that you were making an appointment today to discuss a tax issue, but there really wasn't a lot more that was stated over the phone. So, what I'd like you to do is, think about everything for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time, and then, in as detailed of information as you can possibly be, explain the situation to the best of your knowledge, and I will be taking notes just to kind of jot some things down to make sure that I'm starting to understand the problem.
Gotcha.
So whenever you are ready.
Yeah, so, tax problem, I'm not necessarily sure if I'd characterize it as such, but it kind of is. It is. I guess being a sports fan, you probably know this. I've just kind of been filled in on things. This guy, Barry Bonds, apparently broke this home run record in baseball.
Right.
And the next year, I'm at a baseball game, and with my friend Greg, or not Greg, sorry, George. I'm sorry, this whole issue's got me.
No, and certainly I understand, but just take your time and continue.
My friend George, we're at a baseball game. I'm not the biggest sports fan, but like I was telling you earlier, I just really enjoy the environment.
Sure.
So, George invited me to the game on September 29th, and this guy, Manuel Gonzalez, I guess being a sports fan, you've probably heard of him, and so he broke this home run record by Barry Bonds, and that was the game that we were at. Last game of the year, and George and I are sitting in the outfield, and the guy cracks to the ball, comes right at me. I'm not the most athletic guy, but I've been to a couple sporting events. I know how excited everyone gets at these home run things. So I fought my way to the ball, and I ended up getting the baseball. And so I didn't realize that it was such a big deal. I just knew that everybody likes to have these little souvenirs and stuff. So
Sure.
I went and got it, and so after I caught it, I put it in my pocket, for safekeeping, because like a lot of people wanted this baseball.
Right.
And so, you know, apparently this ball was just this huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been getting blasted with phone calls by journalists and people looking to talk to me, uh, people looking to uh, purchase this baseball from me. And I mean, I've been offered, the highest offer I've received is 500,000 for this baseball, and I mean, that's been a blessing. That's an amazing, thing to have. Uh, but I, you know, the stress that I'm kind of getting from everybody, coming at me, that's been hectic. Uh, I'd love to make some money off this, but you know, I don't want to be rude to this baseball player. Uh, I mean, it's apparently this major accomplishment. I don't want to necessarily take it away from him, but I mean, I'm not making the best money being a driver and all, and so uh, you know, with the media harassing me, I mean, they're calling me greedy, and all these like terrible things, and I'm not used to that. I'm not, I mean, I'm just a driver.
Sure.
I'm not used to the limelight. I actually probably more prefer to be not really seen, and then the on top of all of that, I'm getting grief from George. George wants me to sell the baseball and split the proceeds with them, and he's kind of getting at me. In all honesty, I'm not the greatest friends with George. I call him a friend, but I guess he's more of an acquaintance. Like, I think he really just invited me there because he didn't have anyone else to go with.
Sure.
He's a little insecure, so he doesn't want to go to things alone. So, but I mean, nonetheless, it's getting annoying because, I mean, now he's, getting at me, that reporter's getting at me. I mean, it's all just such a hectic situation.
Yeah.
And, I just went to that game to do him a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of this is happening. So, I mean, it's been a blessing, but it's also been a curse.
No, certainly I can understand your situation. On the one hand, you feel like, wow, what a unique opportunity I have here.
Yeah.
And then of course, on the other hand, just from the little conversation we've had so far, it seems like you're a very genuine person, and you don't want to upset anybody for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have people attack your character has certainly got to be disconcerting. And I, if I was in your situation, I'd probably feel the exact same way, because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong here. So, I mean, all you did is showed up to a baseball game, and all you did is catch a ball, at least from everything that you've told me.
Yeah, and I mean, what's even worse is that, over the years I've kind of struggled with anxiety issues,
Mm-hmm.
and this is kind of one of the reasons why I kind of keep to myself, and it's also why I enjoy my job, is because I kind of have that solidarity. I don't really get that much attention. It's kind of to myself, so I mean,
Sure.
I don't make the most money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, at least it's something I kind of enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who gets angry when they receive like flowers? So it's nice because I never have to deal with angry people. It's a great job for me, but it's just been a mess ever since then. And ever since this situation's come, I've been getting so many anxiety attacks, and it's really messing with my sleep and being able to do my job properly.
Sure.
And I hate greedy people. I understand. I just don't understand why people are trying to lump me in that group of people. I would give the ball back to I've thought about it. I thought about giving the ball back to Gonzalez, but I'm not sure of the tax implications. I don't want anyone else taking advantage of the situation. But on the other hand, I really could use the money. I'm not making the most money or the best money as a driver.
Sure.
I think I could possibly, sell the ball for more than this $500,000 that I was offered. Apparently this record is, something like really historical, and 500,000 for a ball. And I've been told it could probably go for more.
Well, let me just kind of recap, just to make sure that I'm understanding things and kind of maybe have you help fill in some gaps or anything that I might have. So, you were at this baseball game with your friend George.
Yeah.
And it was September 29th of last year?
Yeah.
Okay. And Manuel Gonzalez, I remember actually watching the game, broke the record for most career home runs, if I remember right.
Yeah, or it was most
single
home runs.
season.
Yeah, single season.
Okay, so single season. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I know he's been a terrific player for a while. I was trying to remember it myself. And so that's good to know. And you were in the outfield, just kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden so my understanding is that the ball came at you.
Yeah, and
and you were able
caught
to.
it.
Did you catch it on the fly yourself?
I just caught it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know how, but
Now, were you? Was there any sort of? Did other people try to come after the ball with you? Did they? Was there any sort of jostling?
There's a bit of a struggle, but I came down with it pretty cleanly. There was really no issue around that. I didn't have to, take someone down for it.
Right.
I kind of have longer arms, so I guess it just kind of reached out and got it. And, I had a lot of people trying to come after it. So
certainly,
I just put it in my pocket because,
Now, at any point, did you lose control of the ball?
Nah, I've had it in my possession the entire time.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. At the point that you caught the ball, and before you put it in your pocket, was there at any point that the ball dislodged from you or was out of your possession?
Nah,
Okay.
Ball went from me to my pocket. In all honesty, I haven't even looked at the ball since I got home with it that day.
Sure.
Because George was just really pushing me to sell it to the highest person and splitting the money with them. And whenever I just got home, it was so overwhelming. My anxiety just started taking over, and I just threw it in a kitchen cabinet, and I just didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to see the ball. It was just such a stressful encounter, and it's only been worse after receiving all these phone calls from reporters. I mean, I don't even know how they got my information.
Right.
You know, you're just on. Apparently, I'm all over the TV now.
Yeah.
Like things are just crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and people are trying to figure out about me, and I just can't deal with
Right.
the pressure. It's just a lot, and you know, I mean, I'm glad we can keep things confidential because, it's really worrying me that someone might break into my house and, you know, and then if they steal it from me, then, then what's going to happen? Like, I mean, I feel like everyone's out to get me now. Like, no offense to you, but I was very apprehensive saying anything, but since we have some confidentiality, I just I don't know what to do, and I mean I've been upping my medication to try to help control my anxiety. I still shake a lot, and this is just really messed with my work because I mean, as a driver, you have to be aware of what's going on all the time. And I mean, now that I'm taking more of this medication to deal with the anxiety. It really tires me out. It's an antidepressant, so I mean, I'm driving around and I'm just out of it, and the medication really helps. I mean, I probably should be taking some shortly. I mean, as you can see, I'm just a little disheveled and out of it, and it's. And it's also worrying because like now I'm wondering, could I potentially get fired at work? Like, uh, I know my job has a strict drug policy for their drivers, and this whole baseball thing. I went from just trying to do a friend a favor and join them at a game, and yeah, I mean I might make some money off of it, but then I also might face tax implications. I might have someone who breaks into my house and steals it. I mean, I'm fear for my well-being. I'm getting harassing phone calls inquiring about me, and then on top of everything, I might lose my job. Which I mean, yeah, I don't really make anything off of it, but I like it. So I mean, this thing has just been a real mess for me.
Certainly, yeah, and I certainly can understand your feelings, and they're more than reasonable to have. Unfortunately, we've seen in my line of work, we've seen several instances where things have not gone so well.
Yeah.
But the good news is, I believe we can work with you to make sure that your interests are taken care of, and at the same time, we can come to a resolution on this matter in a relatively short order. Let me get some other information from you, or at least to follow up on some things. What type of work? You said you're a driver for
a florist.
A florist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. What's your salary like? What are you currently making? Because it might go into some of my calculations in terms of when I look into, or potentially if I do look into, and if you decide to hire me on, I can start looking at that in terms of creating some sort of calculations. So
Gotcha. I mean, it's not a lot. I'm making 19,000 a year, which I mean also kind of scares me with the tax implications because
certainly,
I mean, how am I supposed to pay that? Like, do I get? I don't know if I get like. Do I get charged? Because like people are saying it's worth a lot of money. So now,
the only way you would get charged right now is if you decide to actually sell the ball. So up until the time if you decide to just hold on to it, and and do with and keep it, there's no tax implication because you haven't sold it. If you choose to give it back to Mr. Gonzalez, there's nothing there either. It's considered a gift, so you won't have to worry about tax implications until.
But isn't there like a gift tax?
There isn't a gift tax if you don't receive any money.
Okay.
So if it's just considered if you just hand the ball back, we can talk about what could potentially happen with that, but just understand that if you give it back to him or if you donate it or however you choose to do it without any money, there will not be any cash or tax considerations to deal with.
Gotcha.
With this $19,000 a year, is there any benefits to that? Is it just pretty much the salary alone, or?
I mean, that's pretty much just what I make in a year. I mean, I can't tell you like the specifics behind a lot of my things. I just kind of go to my job and
Sure.
Day in, day out.
Okay. You mentioned the anxiety and that you're currently taking medication for that. Do you know about how much you spend on that, or is that taken care of through insurance?
Yeah, I mean, it's I pretty much just get it like through prescription and everything, and I mean, yeah, I don't, and I'm able to afford it, so.
Okay.
I guess I probably get a little bit of help for that.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to do is just trying to put together anything, kind of, sort of like a budget.
Gotcha.
I guess would be the best way to describe it. I'm looking at trying to create a budget and then figuring out what, if you do decide to sell, what that would mean for the budget going forward.
Gotcha.
But again, that's something that we can talk about in a moment. And then let's see. Well, let me ask you a couple of things. One, let me ask you what if in an ideal world, what would you like to do with the ball? Like what would you prefer to happen to the ball?
I would prefer to probably make some money off of it.
Okay.
I've thought about giving it back, but I mean, this is a pretty big windfall. And,
Sure.
I would hate to give up, so much money, something that could change my life like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what sort of if you were to make some money, what would you prefer? Is there a dollar amount that you would like to see? I know you mentioned that someone had offered $500,000 for it, but it could be worth more. Would that be sort of like the minimum that you'd like to take?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'd like to see if I could probably get more out of that. But yeah, I mean.
Okay. And then, let me ask you. You mentioned that George would like to share the profits of that. If assuming that we do, under the assumption that you do sell it, would you like to give him any money, or would that be something that you would prefer not to do?
I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, like I said, I mean, George, I feel like George probably just invited me to this thing because he doesn't like to be alone.
Certainly.
I mean, we really don't have a ton in common. But I mean, maybe, I wouldn't take it off the table.
Okay. I mean, this is good. This is what I'm trying to do is kind of figure out what your interest and how you would like to move forward
Yeah.
going in on this. So if if you'd like to go forward, we would have a retainer of $2,000, and after that, we charge we charge $175 an hour, which is taken off of the retainer initially.
Gotcha.
If you choose to sell the ball, what we can do is we can even wait on the amount that's paid until once the retainer's done, we can worry about any sort of monetary fee coming in until after the ball is sold.
Gotcha.
And we could work on that as a separate arrangement.
Gotcha.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little research. It'll take no more than 10 hours. So out of that, it'll be $1,750 maximum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to research the law, because there are actually some cases on dealing with balls and and how to deal with tax implications and that sort of thing. I will research a little bit more on the tax code to see what exactly you'd be looking at, and then I can, if you do decide to come to retain me, I will come back with a list of options that we can explore, and we can explore them from both illegal and potentially non-legal remedies to the situation, and then allow you to make the best informed decision. So if that is agreeable, we can have my secretary print up a retainer agreement, and then you can sign it before you leave.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that sounds great.
Okay. And then if you agree to that, what we can do is, how do you currently have the ball stored?
I mean,
you said it was in your kitchen?
Yeah.
In a cupboard?
Yeah.
Okay. What we'd like to do maybe before the next meeting is if you could bring that to us, or to the meeting, and then what we can do is, because what we'd like to do is make sure that it's authenticated, and then what we'd like to do is we'd like to work with you to find a safe place for it, because we don't want, obviously, anybody. You mentioned that you do not want anybody to come into your house and break in. So what we can do is maybe we can have a bank store it in a safe deposit box, and I can front that money to put it in the safe deposit box, if that would be something you'd like, and hopefully that will eliminate a little bit of the stress.
I mean, possibly. I mean, I just don't know. It's kind of like, I mean, who do you trust?
No, and I certainly understand that. That's why, by having a financial institution, there would be some guarantees in terms of the value, because I certainly understand that this is a unique opportunity for you, and I don't want you to feel any more pressure on that. And then also we can potentially discuss at a second meeting any sort of way of getting kind of the media off your back as well. So if you give me 1 week, I can come back to you. Like I said, take no more than 10 hours. I will research the law, and we will come up with some options, both from a legal and from a non-legal standpoint, if that is acceptable to you.
No, that sounds great.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, James.
All right. Appreciate the time, Mr. Fahey.
Thank you.
And we look forward to meeting with you next week.
Appreciate it. All right.
It's 11:30.